Sanford police still trying to figure out exactly what happened in this spot here last night.
Trayvon Martin, age 17, fatally shot by neighborhood watch volunteer George Zimmerman. Zimmerman is later then put on trial and not charged with anything. After the public outcry, the court then realizes that Zimmerman is guilty of second-degree murder and manslaughter. Zimmerman is later acquitted of the murder of Martin, and the Black Lives Matter movement officially starts. The Black Lives Matter movement is fairly new, but has still done some pretty notable things. One I can think of is the I Cannot Breathe movement, which was started after Eric Gardner, a 43-year-old man, was killed in a chokehold. The phrase comes from a video of the incident where the 43-year-old father is gasping for air, saying, "I cannot breathe," before dying and turning limp. Another movement would be the Hands Up, Don't Shoot movement, which is based on the belief that Michael Brown, who was shot earlier in a shooting by a police officer, was peacefully surrendering to Wilson, the police officer, before he was shot. People in Ferguson started chanting, "Hands Up, Don't Shoot," based on their belief of this event. Another important event would be the shooting in Dallas. 5 police officers are killed. Apparently, the shooter came up and told police that he was killing all white officers as payback for the death of Alton Sterling, who was shot point blank by the police in Louisiana the week before. One of the biggest strengths of the Black Lives Matter movement is the amount of people they can get to join their cause, mostly African Americans. And the amount of people they get attracts the media. But attracting the media brings their biggest weakness, getting other races to be sympathetic towards their cause. Of course, you can occasionally see some younger college students, whites, Latinos, other races, etc., joining the cause. But getting older, probably maybe 45 and above, whites joining their cause, it's not happening. Back in the civil rights days, they get a ton of people to come join, all ages, races, religions. They got a ton of people. But it seems to be a small group of democratic people who want the Black Lives Matter movement to happen. And without getting that support from everyone else, this isn't going to make any changes, which is another weakness. The Black Lives Matter movement hasn't really done anything to change what they want to change. Racism in the police force. I mean, sure, people have put cameras on cops now, see what they're doing, see how they're reacting to situations, but still, those are minor changes compared to what the civil rights movement could do. They need to figure out how can we get these big changes and get people to join our cause. The Black Lives Matter movement is similar to the Civil Rights Movement. The Civil Rights Movement was fighting for equality in voting, in public transportation, pretty much getting rid of segregation, making sure everyone is equal. The Black Lives Matter movement is fighting for equality in the police forces, and of course other things, but the big thing is police racism. They want it to be gone. They feel like it is still in the police forces, and it is extremely, extremely a problem. What I would recommend that they learn through the civil rights movement is how to get sympathetic whites to join your cause. If you can get a massive amount of them to join your cause, a lot will change. A lot faster. I'm not saying things will change if you can't, but it'll take a long time. Maybe not, but that's how I see it. Another thing I think they could learn is, if you look back if you look back at pictures of the civil rights movement, you see people wearing suits and ties, nice dresses and stuff. I mean, sure, things are different now, but they look a lot more professional and clean than they do now. Now people are just wearing t-shirts. I mean, that's how things are now. But if I was doing a movement, I'd want myself to look presentable and make us look clean, because then you look like respectful people just trying to get what you want. And I feel like if you can get people to see you as like good, clean people, they'll want to join your cause. Now, I'm not a supporter of this movement, but I do have a couple recommendations. If you really, really want people to join your cause and make them feel sympathetic for you, make the opposition look like the bad guys and provide some really, really good evidence that they are. Because if you can make the police force look like evil, racist dudes, which will be really, really hard, because I don't think there's the same huge amount of racism there was back in the civil rights movement days. I feel like it's smaller and more condensed spaces. I feel like that'll just naturally go away over time. But if you want to make some changes, you have to make your case proven with evidence, videos, whatever.
Pizza